Sybil, can I talk to you?
Yes?
I'd like to ask you a few questions.
What do you want to know?
So Alas is your father?
Yes. And yes, he is the leader of the Red Scribes.
That's handy for you.
You are so predictable. Daddy's little girl can do whatever she wants, right? Don't fool yourself. I'm endlessly having to prove myself more than any other scribe. My father doesn't treat me better than the others, and I expect no less from him.
At least that explains why you look like you just stepped out of a library. I guess he encourages you?
Yes, of course. But I'm big enough to make my own choices. Knowledge fascinates me, and I suppose it would have been like that whoever my father was.
Can you tell me more about your order?
Of course. The Red Scribes are an order of sages. Our quest is to find the answers to all the great mysteries of this world.
And so you know about magic?
We study magic from an essentially theoretical viewpoint, but we're not an order of magicians. Even though some of us practice healing magic, but we have nothing to do with the destructive power magic used by the Lords of the Frozen Shadows. And we know very little about that domain, unfortunately.
I see. But that doesn't mean you can't research it, huh?
Obviously, especially now. Any knowledge which would help us turn this war around would be helpful. But according to our archives, we were already studying magic more than 5 centuries ago.
Oh, really? What do you know about the Ice Lords?
As much as it is possible to know without having met them. In some ways, they're quite fascinating, even though the term might seem inappropriate.
Perfect. How do we kill him?
Ha! If I knew that, do you think I would keep it to myself? But I can tell you this, we do believe it's possible. We know that there are 7 lords. Black Storm, Lady Crystal, Marshal Winters, the White Lady, Lord Blackfrost, the Chiller, and the Ice Duchess.
Everybody knows that. We've had our asses kicked by them enough.
For sure. But in the past, there were more of them. Some scrolls talk of 9 or a dozen, even of 30 lords. Of course it's confusing, and I doubt they would have freely given the information of how to kill one of them. But you can bet that some of them have died. We just have to discover how.
Where did they come from?
Most people believe that the lords appeared recently, at the beginning of the war. But I have found certain scrolls that lead me to believe they have been around more than 300 years. They are originally from a region far to the north of Vertiel. For a long time, they remained there. The beginning of their conquest is quite recent. We all think that the war started 10 years ago, but in fact, it is much longer, maybe even the last century. It took them a long time to escape from their region of origin. The dwarf kingdoms were in their way, and they put up a fight.
You had me going there for a moment. I'm sorry, but dwarves? Save it for the children.
But you're wrong. The dwarves did exist, but the Ice Lords exterminated them.
Right. And I bet they also massacred all those poor dragons and goblins.
You know that dragons and goblins don't exist. You're impossible.
Do they have any weaknesses that we could exploit?
Not that I know of. All of the Ice Lords are powerful sorcerers. They are far more powerful than all the other magicians. They have an unlimited army. If they have a weakness, it's not that.
But in spite of all of this, you think there is something?
I do. We often imagine the Ice Lords as a vast megalithic power. But that's not true. In fact, they desperately hunger for power. Just because they pooled their powers to create the Deadwalker army doesn't mean they like each other. Their balance of power is precarious. As soon as they are done with destroying Vertiel, they'll probably start killing each other.
Sure, but that doesn't help us much if we have to wait until they're done.
Perhaps there is a way to stir up the tensions between them, even if for the moment, I can't think how.
Let's change the subject. What can you tell me about the World Heart?
Many of the people on Vertiel believe that the World Heart is just a myth. There are many different beliefs from one region to another, but most of them have more in common than not.
Where life and prosperity are born. I already heard that crap.
If we were to imagine Vertiel as a living being, the World Heart is exactly what it sounds like, the heart of the world. It's what keeps the world alive. It beats, and Vertiel lives from its energy. If you wish, I can try to learn more about it. Come back and see me in a few days.
So then, any result from the study of all these creatures of the swamps?
I have discovered a few things about the small chrysalids. They are much faster, but it seems that they can only attack from close up, using their pinchers. I also noticed that the medium-sized chrysalids were slower than small ones, but they, however, can fire tiny projectiles. The sickles have a power that depends on their growth. The biggest ones are the most dangerous. Up close, their attacks can be frenetic and extremely dangerous. They can also leap onto their prey.
We need to talk about combat.
What do you want me to do?
In fact, you fight just great. Don't change a thing.
All right.
Mr. Vaughn, what brings you here?
The captain wants me to help your village. You got a job I can do?
With our shortages of food and fighting men, our worn-out equipment and the line at the healing house, I cannot deny our village is sorely in need of help. Sadly, I fear that these are not the sort of problems you're dealing with, unless I'm much mistaken.
Maybe I'll surprise you. So what's the problem with the healing house?
Quite simply, Mirana cannot keep up. She spends every waking minute giving out supplies to the refugees and refuses to admit that she cannot help everyone. She thinks she's fooling me. I have heard rumors that her food stock is running low. Unsurprisingly, the crowds outside are becoming restless. I believe they wish to continue handing out our food reserves as though they were unlimited. This is not the case, and thus, it is not an option.
So, you want someone to put her down?
Why, I never suggested any such thing. I just wish she would see reason, for all our sakes. But I have asked nothing of you. I was merely answering your question.
Your guards... How can I put this? At first, I thought they were disobeying orders. Now I think maybe they don't even understand them. If you're stupid and incompetent, you should be digging turnips, not taking care of security.
You're beginning to worry me. Is it really that bad?
Are you kidding me? The state of their weapons is enough to make you cry. Maybe they'd be good for splitting logs.
Personally, I'm not capable of judging the aptitude of our sentries, but their poor results speak for themselves. Doubtless, you should share your observations with Mason, the chief of the watch. I should warn you, however, that he is of a somewhat stubborn nature.
Wouldn't be the first I've seen. I need the reports about this beast that attacked the villagers.
I fear I am unable to be of help. I'm still not entirely convinced that it even exists. All I know is that several villagers have vanished. One villager is at present in the doctor's care, following a supposed encounter with the said beast. These swamps are crawling with dangers. There is nothing to suggest anything out of the ordinary. The refugees are always inventing horror stories in an attempt to force us to open our gates and let them inside.
It might be worth checking it out. You said you lost one of your patrols, right?
That is so. You should speak with Randval. He was most anxious to go out and hunt the beast down, but we needed him here. Now that we have more able bodies to guard our gates, I imagine he would be keen to pick up the scent once more.
We'll talk again later.
Here we go. Another one of these hick refugees. There's nothing for you here.
Open your eyes, Smithy. I'm one of the Freeborn Blades.
Of course. I'm guessing you have need of my precious services. Alas, nothing that would truly put my talent and virtuosity to the test, I'd imagine. Such is the sad lot of the true artiste in times of war. So, what can I do for you?
Show me what you have for sale.
Ah, gold. So vulgar to work with. So wonderful to own. So, you have returned. What is your desire?
The steward said there was a beast attacking the villagers.
This is what one hears, yes. Something is wandering through the swamps, devouring the reckless. The saddest part is that it's often the guards who end up lost, along with their equipment. Meanwhile, we are overrun with refugees who serve no useful purpose at all.
I need more info about Valvanor.
And you have decided that I have a sympathetic face. It's the story of my life. Talent worthy of a king's ransom, but surrounded by cretins who only seek that which is free.
What can you tell me about the steward?
Oh, don't expect me to say anything bad about Bertolf Chambriard. I'm not always in agreement with him, but I can see that he knows his business. And he keeps the village relatively safe.
It's not often you see an elf blending in with other cultures. Are there many of you here in Valvanor?
To my knowledge, I was the only one. That is, until Prince Arundel and his acolyte arrived. Does that pose a problem for you?
Not at all.
Well, it does for me. His Majesty the Prince of Imbeciles is going to bring us nothing but trouble.
What can you tell me about the steward?
Oh, don't expect me to say anything bad about Bertolf Chambriard. I'm not always in agreement with him, but I can see that he knows his business. And he keeps the village relatively safe.
Do you know the woman who runs the healing house?
Oh, but of course. She's all one hears about lately. Everyone here will tell you that she's a courageous woman, fighting a noble battle. Everyone but me. The woman's insane. There are already far too many mouths to feed in this camp. Clearly, she's fully aware of this, yet she stubbornly insists on making things worse.
And the Red Scribes? Know anything about them?
Oh, certainly. A boring bunch of fusspots, spreading science and preaching the good word while never suspecting that anyone might see through their little game.
Our game? Well, pray tell. Give us the details. Please, give us the benefit of your extensive knowledge.
I don't pretend to know about all their little plots. I spend very little time with them, and frankly, I couldn't possibly care less about them. But I am fully aware that pretty speeches serve no better purpose than manipulating minds. They're nothing more than noisy masks behind which hides a reality that is far uglier. The more melody is sweet, the better it distracts you. And is there anything more disgustingly melodious than the discourse of a red scribe?
When it comes to disgusting discourse, you seem to be something of an expert.
Let's talk about something else. I'll be back.
That's an excellent idea.
My respects, General, sir.
Name, rank, and mission soldier, and make it fast.
Private Bumpkin, General, sir. Assigned to the Northwest Gate to prevent any intrusion, keep them monsters from getting into the village, General, sir.
Private Bumpkin? Are you fucking with me?
No, General, sir. That is the name Boss Guard Mason gave me because it's true. I am from the country, sir.
I see. I would like you to give me some information about the village. What do you think of the Boss Guard?
General, sir, Boss Guard Mason, he is a good boss. He is, competent and,
Be honest, soldier. The one thing I hate is a liar.
Why, it's just I don't want any trouble, General, sir.
You won't get any. I'm asking you this because I trust you, and nobody else will ever know.
Okay, General, sir. Because the thing is, well, Boss Guard Mason, I guess I don't think he is a very good boss, General, sir. He insults us all the time and never shows us how to do nothing. He spends all his time drinking like a chamber pot instead of doing his patrols.
Drinking like a chamber pot?
Please, I don't even want to know. Thanks for the information. It'll stay just between us. What do you think about the steward?
The steward? Well, I don't know much about him, General, sir. But before the war, when he took care of the hunting lodge, he used to come and buy vegetables from my grandparents. But they didn't like him much. He always spoke to them like he thought they was scum.
All these refugees, are they causing any trouble?
Well, it's true there is a lot of them, so that means a lot more work for us. Sometimes one of them will try to sneak in and steal some food, but we don't ever let them do that. Then again, we can't get too mad at them either. It's all because of the war. Those people are just like us, more or less, except that they've lost everything. And sometimes they help us, too. A couple have even joined the Guard. when the boss thought they was good enough. Plus, there's Renko. Well, he fixed up my granddad's spade. He's a real nice guy, that one.
I see. You stand in front of the swamps every day. You must know a lot about them, right?
Oh, not that much, General, sir. I never set foot out there. It's way too dangerous. Boss Mason posted me at this here gate, and that is just fine with me. There's lots of monsters out there. I can hear them, and that's enough for me. And even when there's no noise, we hear the whispering and well, that's even worse.
The whispering?
Yes, General, sir. Sounds like my own mama's voice sometimes. Except that she's been dead these past 5 years. Plus, I can't make out one word she's saying. And that don't make no sense. Mama and me always understood each other.
I see. Let's change the subject. See you later, soldier.